Hi, I'm Betty. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make 3 delicious cookies from one batch of dough. We've got apricot coconut thumbprints, peppermint chocolate thumbprints, and pecan raspberry thumbprints. Let's go to the kitchen. So I'm all ready to start baking our thumbprint cookies. This makes a large batch, so in the end we're going to make 3 different varieties of this cookie. But the main ingredients are very simple. I've got in my bowl 3 sticks, 3/4 of a pound of butter, and a cup of sugar. And I have ready a teaspoon of vanilla, 3½ cups of flour that I've mixed with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I should mention I always use unsalted butter when I'm baking. If you prefer to use salted butter, simply eliminate the 1/4 teaspoon of salt that's called for in this case. So, with my trusty beater blade, with the fins, which I've mentioned before, get that in the machine. And just mix this until it's combined. In this case, we're just mixing till combined. We're not going to a light and fluffy stage or anything like that. So now I'm going to put in my teaspoon of vanilla. And we'll mix that in. Now that the butter, sugar, and vanilla are blended, we're going to start gradually adding this flour and salt mixture. Just a little at a time, and don't overblend. There we go. I've added the last of my flour, and I'm going to give this a final mix. And again, just until that dough comes together. I'm going to scrape down the sides once, although it is pretty well mixed. This is a fairly large batch of dough, and I just want to make sure I haven't missed any little bits of flour there. Perfect. All right. Now, I have ready a piece of wax paper, and I'm going to remove the blade. There we go. It's a fairly stiff dough. And you can see it's all well mixed. By using this wonderful beater blade with the fins, which comes from New Metro Design, it's available in many stores, but if not, you can contact them directly at newmetrodesigns.com. The rubber on the blade eliminates the need for stopping and scraping down your bowl every 2 or 3 minutes. And it also mixes the ingredients much more quickly. So it's a great investment. Of course, if you don't have a stand mixer like this, you could make these cookies using a handheld mixer. You could probably even do it the way we made stuff when I was a kid, with a wooden spoon in your hands. But it does take longer and a lot more effort that way. So I'm just going to scoop out this dough onto my wax paper as neatly as I can. And gather it into a disc, more or less. And I'm going to wrap it up and put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes before starting to shape the cookies. Just use the wax paper here to help shape it. You can see this is a fairly large batch of dough. It's going to make about 6 dozen cookies. And that will do just fine. And because it makes so many, as I said before, we're going to make 3 different kinds. We'll get to that at the end. So here it goes into the refrigerator for a rest. Now that my cookie dough has chilled, I want to get my workstation all assembled before I start shaping them. So I'm going to be making 3 different types of cookie. And I've got some shredded sweetened coconut that I've done in the mini processor to make the flakes even finer. And I'm going to be making those with some apricot jam. This is jam that I've heated and strained. The next one we'll do will be dipped in finely chopped pecans, and then they will get a filling of raspberry jam, also heated and strained. I don't mind raspberry seeds in my toast in the morning, but I don't like them in my cookies. And the third one we'll make will have a coating of finely crushed peppermint candy canes, actually, and they will get a little filling of a chocolate chip. And we're going to be dipping them first in an egg that has been beaten with a tablespoon of water. And when I'm doing cookies, I always like to strain the egg. And you can see there, no matter how well you beat it, there are always some little stringy things that you don't want attached to your cookie. So now this is all ready. And next I'm going to show you how to make a paper cone to put the jam in. You can use 2 teaspoons to fill these cookies with jam, but I like to use a paper cone since I find the spoon method always ends up with drips and drizzles all over my cookies where I don't want them. So simply fold the paper until you get a tight point at the end and use a piece of cellophane tape and go right down the seam to hold it. Just like so. Pop it into a glass, and then you can just scoop your strained jam right in there. Just like so. And I'm going to repeat that with my apricot jam. While the dough was chilling, I turned my oven to 350 degrees to preheat it and have it all ready for the cookies. And now I'm ready to start shaping these. All I'm going to do is pinch off a little piece and roll it into a ball. If you find you've left the dough in the refrigerator a little too long and it's gotten too hard to work with, simply leave it out for 15-20 minutes or so. And sometimes you just have to give it a little squish. And there we go. And as I said, this is going to make about 6 dozen of these cookies. So I'm going to continue rolling these, get them all ready, and then I'll show you the final touches. The cookies are all rolled, and as you see, they're pretty even. Actually, I got about 70 cookies out of these. So now I'm ready to start dipping and rolling them in their coating. Again, this is 1 egg beaten with a tablespoon of water and strained. I'm just going to drop that in. Take it out, let it drip, and roll that in the coconut. All right, those are the coconut ones. Let me just show you. I'll roll a couple in the nut mixture. Get a nice coating on there. And finally, the crushed candy canes. Which do really smell lovely and minty. I'll do one more of these, and then I want to show you how I'm going to fill them. Okay, now I'm using a small dowel. You could use the end of a chopstick, a small wooden spoon, whatever you have handy. And all you want to do is make a small depression, like so, in your cookie. Now when these go in the oven, they are going to spread a little, so you do want to leave a little space between each cookie. Just like so. Now, for my candy cane cookies, I'm going to press a little chocolate morsel in. And I'm going to put them upside down because that's how I want them. Now, in the apricot cookies, I'm going to put my apricot jam. And this is the tube we made earlier, the little cone, and I'm just going to snip the end off so that I can pipe about a 1/4 teaspoon of jam into the center. You don't want to do much more than that because jam somehow expands when it bakes and it leaks all over. And this is the raspberry jam, which is going to go into our pecan-coated cookies. There you have it. They're going to go in the oven and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes. So I'm going to continue rolling and filling, and I'll see you back in just a little while. The last batch of cookies is ready to come out of the oven. All baked, and once they're cooled, ready for a delicious snack. So here are the finished cookies. 3 different cookies from one dough. The coconut with apricot jam, cookies rolled in crushed candy canes with a chocolate morsel, and nut coated with raspberry jam. Just be sure to use a really good quality jam. You're using very little, so you want a good jam where the flavor will truly come through. For further information and even more recipes, please visit my website.